So I found out that I had cancer only a few days after coming back from honeymoon. So me and my husband had just got married. We then went on a lovely honeymoon, which was quite difficult, trying to put the prospect of potentially having cancer to the back of your head. But I managed to enjoy it as much as I could. Then unfortunately when I got back, I went into that room and yes, your lump is cancerous. You know, my world just felt like it completely shattered. It felt like I was in a dream, like this isn't real life. And, you know, my life plan, I guess, felt like, you know, this shouldn't be happening. This isn't what I imagined. We would have probably started trying for babies around the same time as I got diagnosed, 6 months after getting married. So it was like, what's going on? And I really vividly remember in that appointment, I was asking, well, what happens next? What is my treatment? What do I need to do? And the lady said, you need to start chemotherapy as soon as possible. And I think it was that word that's when I broke down. I just, I thought, well, chemo, gosh, that comes with so many different things, like that could affect my fertility. What happens now? Does that mean that, I might not be able to have children? Along with all the other things that chemo comes with. Obviously, a million things were shooting around in my head at that point. It was a very scary time. I was quite naive to the IVF process before I was then given the choice and opportunity to do it. So I didn't really know what was involved. So from the moment of being diagnosed, you kind of put on a conveyor belt and you're like, right, this is what's going to happen, and you just go along with it. So I found the IVF process, it's definitely challenging, and it's hard, but I think because my focus was on, I need to get this done. Obviously I would love it to work, and it's an absolute bonus if it works, but I need to get this done in this short window of time, so then I can start my treatment and really, get rid of the cancer in my body. But yeah, IVF is certainly a very emotionally challenging, difficult time. But I think because I was focusing on the next step of my treatment, I was kind of in a different headspace to a lot of other people who go through it. So once we met our oncologist, obviously we discussed, my young lady. I was only 31 when I got diagnosed, just got married. So children was definitely something that me and my husband wanted in life. Because the cancer I had was quite an aggressive type, my oncologist said, I'm giving you 2 weeks to do IVF, and if your periods don't match up within that period, then unfortunately you can't have it, because obviously the cancer is just growing by the minute and could start spreading. So 2 weeks is the maximum time that she felt comfortable to give me. And luckily my periods did work out, so I was able to start IVF. So we got straight in there. It involved doing 2 injections a day for around, I think it was around a week to 10 days. And then within that time, I'd go into hospital a few times for an internal examination, and they'd see if any eggs had been collected in your ovaries, and they'd also check your womb lining. And then when they saw that the eggs are ready to collect, my husband had to come in and do his thing, and then after that they put the 2 together to see if any fertilise. So we ended up having 5 blastocysts, which are fertilised embryos. So they're currently in the freezer at St Bart's if we ever need to use them in the future. So I feel like I never let my head go to the worst place. Like, it never entered my head that I could die. So I think my support network, that was like, I have the best family and friends I could ask for. Like, if it were for them, then I think I would have definitely struggled a lot more. And then I know it's very cliche and easier said than done, but I just tried to take everything like week by week. So I had chemo and immunotherapy once a week, every week, for 6 months. So I just took it week by week. If I was feeling, more tired or sick that week, then I'd like allow myself more rest. And I just also kind of thought, right, this is going to be a year of my life. I remember when I first got diagnosed, they said it's normally a year of your life that's going to be awful. And then after a year, hopefully, you can start living your life again. So I just thought, right, 6 months to a year, it's going to be hell, it's going to be awful, but it was almost like a project, right? I need to get through this project in my life. That's going to be the worst project, hopefully, ever of my life. And just trying to remain positive as possible. Obviously there are times when you feel so rubbish that you're like, this is awful, I don't want to have another treatment because, it knocks you out. But then you get something positive, or you have a scan and you see it shrinking, so then that lifts you up. So it's just trying to remain as positive as possible through the process. My treatment was a success, and in July 2019 I was given the all clear. What advice was I given about having babies afterwards? So yeah, in that July, obviously given the all clear was the best news ever. I had finished chemo, but I still was going in for a double mastectomy and reconstruction, just as a preventative to, reducing the possibility of it coming back. So we were given advice from my oncologist to say you need to allow your body a year for everything it's been through to recover, and after a year, that's when you can start trying for children if you wish. So all the awful stuff that chemo brings, letting that flush out, also getting my fitness levels back, and then after a year we were good to try. So I think I was obviously a bit apprehensive to find out, whilst we were trying, was anything affected from chemotherapy, but the prospect of me falling pregnant, I know some cancers are hormone stimulated, which can be a big scare factor for the cancer coming back, but my cancer wasn't brought on by hormones. So, and because I'd had the double mastectomy, my chances of getting breast cancer again has significantly dropped. I think it's lower than the average person because all my breast tissue, like 95% of it, is now gone. So I think it was more just a prospect of, has the chemo had an effect on my ovaries or anything? I managed to conceive naturally fairly quickly, which we were so grateful for and super lucky. So whilst I was pregnant, I was under consultancy care given my cancer background, and the immunotherapy that I had, it actually destroyed my thyroid function. So they kept a close watch on that, because it when I first got pregnant in the first 3 months, it really fell. So I had to up my dosage. Chemotherapy can also affect your heart, so I had a few heart scans just to make sure that was okay, and if I went into was my heart strong enough to have natural labour, which it turned out it was, but I ended up having a C-section because baby was breech for ages and would not turn round. But apart from that, I had a fairly normal pregnancy, I would say. A little bit of sickness, a sweet tooth throughout, craving Haribo all the time. But yeah, I felt quite comforted from being looked after given my health background. So yes, we would love to have another child if we are lucky enough to do so. But if we did struggle the next time round to conceive naturally, then we do still have the 5 blastocysts in the freezer in the hospital in London, where we can have access to whenever we want for the next, I think they hold them for the next 50 years, so we'd be able to try with that. So advice that I'd give if there was anyone in my situation who had recently been diagnosed and maybe they'd not started the family yet, do research, say to your oncologist, I love children, like what are my options? Can I have IVF? I also had an injection every month in my stomach, which for this drug called Zoladex, and that was to help protect your ovaries. So obviously it's not 100% guaranteed to work, but there's a more chance of protecting your ovaries and obviously not having it. The only thing with that is because it does shut down your ovaries, it then throws you into a early menopausal state, so your body basically thinks you're going through the menopause, so then that comes with more side effects to add to the already long list of side effects that you obviously get with chemo. Hot flushes, headaches, so that night sweats, and then I would just say talk. If you don't want to talk to people who you're closest to, because you almost like don't want to let people, the closest people to you, like know how like scared you might be. I connected with loads of women going through the same thing as I was, of a similar age, through social media, and that really helped. And just following other people's journeys, to see I'm not on my own, it's not just me that has to go through this. So that definitely helps. And I think no question is stupid. Just if anything pops in your head at all, either ask your oncologist, ask somebody that you might connect with on social media, and positive thinking.